Well, we'll get started because I don't want to keep you too late. But I'll just do a bit of an introduction first to the podcast. Obviously, I'm Zoe, and I have limb-girdle muscular dystrophy, and I'm 26, and I started this podcast really because I just wanted to try and raise awareness, but also give a bit of a voice to disabled people in the community, because I do think there's still a lot of misunderstanding and a lot of negative perceptions of disabled people, and I really wanted to just show a bit of our lives really and what we're about, and that we're not defined by our bodies and the way that they work or don't work, as I say. And I really wanted to have you on as a guest because I've followed you for a little while, and I really wanted to hear your story.
I have a disability called Cerebral Palsy. Basically it affects my speech, as you can tell, and my movement in my body, so I walk with a limp, and I've lived with it my whole life. The doctors said at my diagnosis that I never walk or talk or do anything for myself and I've basically gone on to prove them wrong, and then I do everything right. I drive, I'm at university, and I am fully independent, despite what my mum and dad were told when I was born. I basically started. Sorry, now my dog.
Don't worry, I've got a dog. My dog will probably bark at some point during this. Don't worry.
I basically started sharing my journey on Instagram after I experienced quite a violent hate crime against disability.
I'm really sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason, and I decided to turn pain into purpose, and it led me to share my story with living with a disability on Instagram and connect with many people, so that such a horrific thing has led me to find my purpose in a way. So yeah,
I know what you mean. Like, you have. So first of all, I'm really sorry to hear that you've experienced such ableism. Like, it's awful, and there's no place for it. So I'm really sorry that you've had that experience. But I completely hear what you say about how you've turned such an awful experience into such a positive thing for you, and you've made it like work for you. You haven't let it beat you. If anything, you've allowed it to almost, I guess, make you stronger and take what you need from it, and I think that is really inspiring.
Yeah, it should have brought me down, but it didn't. In a way, it made me stronger. So it definitely needed to happen. I believe in order for me to find my purpose and become stronger within myself, and I know people often say, well, it didn't need to happen, and you're right, it didn't need to, but in my opinion, it needed to in order for me to grow as a person. Yeah,
Yeah.
that might make sense, but yeah.
I think honestly, I completely understand your perspective, and I think you're right. It's really, you've made it work for you, and I think it's that old saying, isn't it? Like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah, definitely.
And you can't let the bullies and the negative people win, and you haven't. It's made you stronger, and you've shown them what you're made of, and I think that's really inspiring and shows the strength and bravery of you. So honestly, like, you should feel really, just really strong in yourself for that, because it's amazing.
Thank you.
How have you found your journey of your disability and like people's perceptions of it? I know you've mentioned that you've had some negative experiences, but like, have you had some positive experiences?
Yeah, I have, like, the people who are kind and good people definitely outweigh the bad people who who want to bring you down. And then, like, say if I'm in a cafe and I'm like, I need help carrying my drink over to the table, then the staff will help me with that, even though there's a lot of negativity around disability. There's also, like, positive things about it, and the people you meet can be really kind. And I try to focus on that and not the negative people.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you there. I mean, I'm 26, and I remember like 10, 15 years ago, at the time, I found there was a lot of ignorance around disability, and I think a lot of people didn't understand how to support you or interact, and so I sometimes felt like maybe there weren't as many positive interactions, but now, don't get me wrong, we've still got a long way to go and there's still a lot of ignorance, but I do think generally more people want to help and are a bit more empathetic and understanding with disabilities.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Which I think is a really nice shift in things, and was another reason why I really wanted to start social media, because I think the more of us that educate people and talk about our disabilities and what we experience, it hopefully kind of breaks down some of those barriers that people have, and hopefully shows that we're just like everybody else, really.
Definitely, yeah. I definitely think we've come a long way in accepting disability, but we've still got a long way to go, if that makes sense. And we will get there. I truly believe that we will get there. It's just gonna take time.
I agree. I do think we'll get there one day, and I think hopefully now that so many people are speaking up and using their voice, that is kind of the stepping stone that we need. I wanted to. You mentioned that you're at university. What are you studying?
So I'm studying criminology.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm actually halfway through my degree, which is crazy.
It goes really quick, doesn't it?
It does. But yeah, I'm really like enjoying it, and yeah.
How are you finding the support at university?
To be fair, I don't really need support because I'm quite independent. I'm not really like needing it, so I can't really answer that question. But I if I was to need it, I know that it's there and it's like accessible for me. So yeah.
Yeah, I think universities are generally pretty good at accessibility and support. I mean, I studied psychology and I lived on campus, which I was really scared about.
Yeah.
I'd never lived on my own before, and
Yeah.
obviously with my disability and stuff was a bit like, oh, this
Yeah.
is a big step, but it went really well, and I think it kind of gives you those life skills and confidence to find your own way of living on your own.
Yeah, I mean, it's like going to university has made me believe I can actually do things. My dreams of living an independent life aren't out of reach, and it's given me like this independence that I've always wanted within my life. So it definitely helped with that, and yeah.
That's really wonderful that you've found that it's really given you that independence that you've always wanted, and I think that's always some advice I try and give to disabled people that are thinking of going to uni or aren't sure if it's for them. It really is that opportunity to sort of test the waters and find what independence works for you, and what adaptations or support you may need or may not need. And I think it's really confidence building, I found personally.
Definitely, yeah, like it's definitely built up my confidence in like becoming a more stronger person. Like before, I didn't think I'd be able to go to uni, and now I have. It kind of raised my self-belief. Like I believe in myself a lot more. Like if I want to do something, like now I know that highly likely I'll be able to do it, and that's because I've gone to uni and created a life for myself on my own.
Absolutely, like you know now that you can do anything that you put your mind to, and it's just about finding your path and what works for
Yeah.
you, which is amazing. And I think it's so nice to come to that part of, I mean, I always call the journey of disability a journey because I do think you go on a bit of a journey, like mentally and with acceptance and independence. And I
Yeah.
think it's a really wonderful time when you come to that self assurance and confidence of knowing whatever I want to do in life, I can find a way of doing it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I noticed on your social media, I think it was a week or two ago, you posted a video about driving, and I really wanted to ask you how it was for you, like taking lessons. Did you have to do any assessments or anything? Like, what was the process for you learning to drive?
So I needed to do a assessment to see if I could drive. Turns out I could, and then so I can't drive a manual, so I have to drive an automatic. But altogether, from, like I said, from starting driving lessons to actually passing my test, it took me like 3 years, and it takes the average person like 2 years, so it definitely took me longer. And it was a journey, and there were times where I was like, should I just give up and like not drive? But it's like getting that grit and not being like, no, I'm gonna do this. I can do it and I will do it. So going back to that self-belief again, and I believe now I could do it, and I did, and yeah, now I'm a driver, I have a license, but yeah.
Well done. I had quite a similar experience to you, and I got my provisional when I was 16, and I started my lessons, but I had to do an assessment. I think I'd already actually passed my test, but I think it's every 5 years, my license goes to the DVLA and they contact my medical team and they check, like, is anything changed? Is you still okay to drive? And after the first 5 years, so I would have been about, I think, 22, and I had to go, as it was the first proper review, I had to go to this assessment centre where I had to answer loads of questions, but I had to go and do a drive with the assessment people in the car, and I had to drive for at least an hour with no breaks, and I had to reverse, park, and what else? There was something else I had to do. I can't remember what it was. But I did it, and I did it fine. Passed with flying colours. But it was quite a funny little experience to know that we have to kind of keep doing these checks. I think a lot of people don't realise, like able-bodied people, you just get your licence and then off you go. Whereas a lot of us, we do have to they keep a bit of a close eye on us, which I get, I understand. But like you, I was really proud when I got my licence, because I think I was a little bit unsure when I was younger, like, would I be able to physically manage driving? But I love it.
Yeah, like that was a day when the thought of driving absolutely terrified me. But yeah, I definitely think like when you do have a disability, it is harder to like pass your test and like actually get a license. But yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I think there's a lot more hurdles you have to overcome, I think, when you're learning to drive as a disabled person. But I always say to people, like, don't let that put you off, because that independence that it gives you to be able to drive is so worth the extra bit of hassle.
Definitely, yeah.
And that freedom that you feel when you're driving, like, on your own for the first time, and you're like, I've done it, I'm here.
Definitely, and I feel like it gives you more freedom, but not only that, it kind of educates people by showing that yeah, disabled people can drive. Like, we don't sit in our rooms all day. We can do stuff, and we can achieve the things that able-bodied people achieve. And so by passing my test and putting that on Instagram, it's like showing people, yeah, I can do what you can do. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like some people were quite surprised when I passed my test, and I think, like you say, that I do think sometimes there is this misconception that disabled people just don't really go out, or we just sit at home. And I think everybody's abilities are different, and there are a lot of people that are unable to obviously go out, but there are a lot of disabled people that are able to go out, either independently or with support. And I think being able, as you say, posting that video of you drive, it's really showing to both able-bodied people and other people with cerebral palsy that they can do it too, and it gives them that motivation that, oh, maybe I didn't know that I could pass my test and drive.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of like creating a new view around disability. If
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. Like, I got told that I never drive, and now that I do drive, it's kind of like, oh, okay, so disabled people can drive, and yeah, it's been quite good. And then, yeah.
Are you really enjoying it? Are you really loving driving?
I think the novelty has worn off a bit.
Oh no.
But I enjoy it, and yeah.
I think it's probably maybe not the right weather to be enjoying driving, in fairness. I think you'll probably love it again in the better weather, but
Yeah,
at the minute it's a bit rubbish.
definitely, yeah, definitely.
So you mentioned with your social media, that obviously it was a not great experience that inspired you to create it. But what do you really enjoy about educating people on social media?
I've always loved like motivating people, and I do wanna like be a motivational speaker one day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of also like batting down the misconceptions about disability and showing disabled people that you can, and able-bodied people that you can have a happy life with a disability. Like, I tell people that I am disabled, I have CP, and they're like, oh my god, I'm really sorry, that must be awful. And I'm like, no, it's not actually. It's like, I have a happy life, and I often think that people presume that disability means you're unhappy, when that's not really the case at all. And so by showing people on my social media that you can be disabled and still have a happy life, it kind of like gets rid of the misconceptions in a way. And it kind of like tearing down the barriers that I'll put around disability.
And I think it's also, that's something that always really bothered me, when people give you that, like, sympathy and pity and stuff, and I'm just like, oh, I know it comes from a good place, but it's also, I've found it very disheartening as a child when it would happen, and I now I'm very like, well, no, I don't want your pity. You know, I'm a very independent, happy person, even alongside my disability, and I think now there's so much more representation of people showing the happy side of their lives, and that they're not defined by their disability.
Yeah.
I think by doing I've found by doing this podcast, it's almost been a bit therapeutic for me too, like being able to talk about my disability and what I hope people find a safe space, and just getting things off my chest that maybe I haven't really been able to do so for a time. I mean, have you found it quite therapeutic for you doing social media?
Yeah, like, obviously, when I, like, experienced the hate crime, it was quite healing sharing my journey on social media, and so it kind of healed me in a way. What had happened.
I think it's really lovely that you've created such a kind and supportive platform and community of people that really support you. And I think it's been really wonderful that you have found a therapeutic place to help, as you say, heal from that experience. I think that's really lovely.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I am proud of myself for turning it into a purpose. But it has been hard, and I've shown my journey online of healing from such a viral experience that I have to go through.
You should be really proud of yourself, honestly, and as I said before, like, you really shouldn't have had to experience that, and I'm so sorry that you did, but you should be so proud of how you've healed from it, how you've overcome it, how you've become stronger and braver, because honestly, it's so inspiring, and it will inspire so many other people. It really will.
Thank you.
So I always ask this question with people, and is there anything you would like people to know about either cerebral palsy, or about your life, or life with cerebral palsy? Like, if there was one message you could put out there, what would it be?
I would say just simply be kind. You don't know what anyone's going through, and kindness will get you a long way in life. And by being kind, you're putting out positivity, and you're making the world a better place. So simple. Be kind whether that person has a disability or not. We're all equal. Like, none of us is more, like, better than the other. We're all equal. And I think kindness can, like, help people connect and create a more positive environment. And yeah,
That's a really wonderful message to put out there, and honestly, I agree wholeheartedly. Like, the bottom line is just to be kind to people. You know, it's really not difficult to be kind and empathetic and just support each other. You know, life's really hard for all of us in different ways. Like disability or no disability, you know, it's a lot for all of us, and I just think the better way of getting through it together is just to support one another and be kind, be there for each other.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, honestly, Issy, I've had such a really lovely time interviewing you, and I'm so glad we finally got to do it. I really am.
Thank you for having me on.
You're more than welcome. Honestly, you've been a really wonderful guest, and yeah, I thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I hope you have a really lovely Christmas and a wonderful New Year. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening, Issy.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.